So what's up, y'all? It's Raw 98 coming to you. And this episode here, I have my mom, the lovely Live Love Raw, Linda Maris, here. And I wanted to have her share her story as to how she cured herself of kidney cancer.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, so let's start off with your story. Maybe just give us, like, you know, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your story.
Okay. I have been in the medical profession for many years. I was working as a cardiac nurse. I was diagnosed with kidney cancer in 2003 on my right kidney and had that removed. Did not change my diet at all on my left kidney. And the same urologist gave me the options of basically having the tumor removed along with my kidney.
Then you have no kidneys.
No kidneys.
Because we only have two.
Yep, and I already only had one at that time. So in my eyes, as a cardiac nurse, that was not an option because dialysis was the protocol after that. And just all. And except drinking distilled water was not a way I wanted to live. So I chose to wait. I did schedule surgery, but it was far out, about a month and a half later. And I was scheduled to go see my daughter in Texas, and my son here said, "Mom, you got to watch Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, and look up Max Gerson." So we got the movie and watched the movie, Joe Cross's Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, and I went on a green juice fast.
Amazing, amazing.
And I felt really good. I mean, I really could tell the change in my body. And then I looked into the Max Gerson program, and they have a clinic down in Mexico. But I did not really want to leave the States, so I found an offshoot, clinic in Sedona, Arizona. Gotcha. And I went there for 2 weeks and learned the whole protocol, all the juices.
Which was an intense protocol.
Yes, 13 fresh juices, one every hour for 13 hours. 5 coffee enemas a day.
5
lots
to
of
7
supplements.
Coffee enemas a day.
Lots of supplements.
You were like living on supplements. I remember she would have like just this tray of like massive amounts of supplements. It was ridiculous.
It was.
And I'm thinking, this is not natural. This is probably not the best thing to do.
No, and they were not plant-based. What I know now, they were not plant-based. But what I did do was I was committed. I did research and found out that there was a lot of people that had tumors disappear on the Gerson clinic, protocol.
So then you started to shift that mindset.
I knew it was going to work, but I lived like that for 9 months.
Yeah.
And the tumor really didn't change shape.
Right. It would kind of fluctuate slightly, ebb and flow, just a little bit metastasized and then kind of regress a bit.
It had not spread anywhere. It was just confined to my kidney, so I was very, very blessed for that. I was also very blessed to be able to work with a nurse practitioner who I would come in with a list of labs that I wanted to have drawn and an ultrasound every 3 months. So I was able...
Because you being a nurse, knowing what you're looking... You're like, I need to know these specifics. Tell me this, this, and this. That's pretty powerful.
Yes.
Where the average person, may not be, and say average person, someone who's just not in the medical field knowing those kinds of...
Yeah, you trust the doctor.
You're right, you trust the doctor.
Trust the doctor. Hey, we got to cut that out. We got to do chemo and radiation.
It's amazing, like, we go to the dentist, and we've never been to that dentist before, but you're like, okay, yeah, just do your thing, like...
Yeah.
We trust them. I know.
Right. So that's what I did for 9 months. And after 9 months in the third ultrasound, not much change.
You're good.
It just was like, okay, I've got to try something different. And plus I wasn't living. I was basically married to my house. Yeah. I didn't leave the house because my protocol was so structured.
So what were some of your fears?
Well, granted, every time I was scheduled for an ultrasound, I always had that, anxiety of, has it gotten bigger? Is it somewhere else? Because you just don't know. Yeah. Kidney cancer is called a silent killer because you don't know you have cancer of the kidney until it's spread to your lungs or your bone or your brain. So, I mean, in that whole scenario, the reason why I had a scan done was because I was sick. And then I also had a mass where my right kidney had been, and it was pretty big. I could feel it underneath my rib cage. And when I went and talked to my nurse practitioner, she said, well, when was your last scan? And I said, well, it's been 5 years. And so she recommended having a CAT scan.
Gotcha.
And so that's how they found it. And yes, I did have a massive scar tissue where my right kidney had been, but there was a tumor on my left kidney. So that's what we, concentrated on.
That.
Yeah, that's how I found it, by the grace of God. So.
Amazing.
So yeah, but anyways, I just really, I feel very, very blessed.
Oh, yes.
That I was able to
turn it around
and just do what I needed to do.
Because you got that mindset. I remember you were like, you just had the mindset going. And that is so huge right there. Yes. Because if you believe like, oh, every day I'm not going to get better. It's not going to work for me. I'm pretty much, and woe is me all the time. And that energy is flowing through you.
Yes.
To where you were like, no, it's okay. I'm researching. These people have done. Look at this.
Yes.
And you're like already putting in that like Make-A-Wish kind of thing. Like It's like you put in your order on Amazon and you just forget about it. You're like, it's cool. The order's coming.
Yep.
So you put in like on Amazon, so to speak, I'm healed. And you had that in your mindset that you were healed, but you had to do certain work.
Right. It was a lot of work. And I researched every day. I was a internet guru. I just researched everything. But the one thing,
didn't sleep as much.
I didn't because I was very proactive with my care. But what I did was when I found an article or a study, I always went, that interested me, I always went to the end of the study and I found out who put it on. Right. And if it was anything with the government.
Referencing, yes.
If it was anything with the government or the National Institute of Health or CDC, I threw it out. I didn't even, clog my brain with that information.
No, because, they're being bought off.
Yeah, but they're being bought off by Big Pharma.
No, you want the real stories just like this is here.
Yes.
A real story. This is no BS.
Yeah, I wanted the truth. Now, granted, after 9 months, the tumor hadn't really changed shape that much, and so I kind of ventured off. I still juiced a lot, but I basically went to just carrot and apple juice. I would basically juice about 60 to 80 ounces of carrot and apple juice. So a day. And then I would have my steamed vegetables. Gerson was really big on steamed vegetables. Very small amount of fruits. Maybe a little wedge of pineapple and a little wedge of watermelon, a couple slices of oranges, a little bunch of grapes, not much fruit at all.
Yeah, right.
No, a lot of potatoes. Because the main premise is the potassium-sodium shift. The more potassium you put into your body, even though bananas are high in potassium. Yeah. No bananas. Yeah. But you basically shift that sodium out of your cells and the potassium takes over. And then basically what he believed was the equilibrium of the homeostasis and the nutrient value, was in the potatoes and, helps your body heal.
That was there.
So that was there. And then detoxification with the coffee enemas.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Now, how did you deal with like doctors and people?
So, well, the urologist really was not happy that I postponed surgery. And he would call my nurse practitioner quite frequently and say, oh, she needs to have surgery. She needs to get back in here. And even though I had my nurse practitioner, her name was also Linda, she was really on my side. She supported me 100%. But she also could see the reasoning for the concern because she didn't really know the truth either. And I was just learning the truth. I was the experiment. I was my own experiment, seeing my body change and seeing how good I felt and the weight come off. I was off all of my medications. I was on 5 different medications when I was diagnosed in 2014. I had been on synthetic thyroid medication for 15 years. I was on blood pressure medication. I was on diabetes medication because I was a diabetic, a type 2 diabetes. Metformin twice a day, 500 milligrams. I was on Protonics because I had GERDs, gastroesophageal reflux disease.
Sounds fun.
And and I was on Lipitor because my cholesterol was all whacked out.
Does that sound familiar to any of you guys? Maybe you guys are on some of these medications, or maybe you know somebody who's on these medications. I work as a medical assistant, so I go through people's medication sheets daily, and these are the kind of things that I see on people's medication sheets daily. Now, they're not necessarily fighting, cancer, but they're very sick people, and they don't have any kind of mindset to shift into doing something about it. So, anyways, back to...
So, I basically was able to get off all of my medications within 4 months of going, the Gerson protocol. Basically, fueling my body with fresh juices. 8 carrot, eight carrot juices and 5 green juices a day.
Now, watching this from the sidelines as her son, this was massive amounts of work. My sister's helping her juice. Like, this is not necessarily a protocol that you can go and enjoy life on. Now, it might work for certain people, and it has worked for a lot of people. But it wasn't working for you. No. You followed it to the T, like for 9 months, 10 months. And it was so much work.
It was a lot of work and a lot of money. I spent over $1,000 a month on supplements alone, besides the food. And I drank 20 pounds of produce a day.
20 pounds
I would
of
go
produce.
through 25 pounds of carrots every other day.
That's nuts. So, yeah, that's
hard. We had to buy a separate refrigerator just to put my produce in.
That's hard for any... And this is scary. Scary. You're, say, someone who doesn't have, the gumption or the ability to research, and do these kinds of things. Like, it's impossible. So, pretty much they would just throw it out like, oh, I'm going to die. Yeah,
or I'm going to have surgery and be on dialysis for the rest of my life. And that was my option. I wasn't going to die. Yeah. But in my mind, having dialysis, after working in the units...
Seeing dialysis myself, working in the units, I worked in the same units. Horrible, horrible way to live.
Horrible death. Slowly cut off every limb. You can only have 500 cc's of fluid a day.
Horrible.
You're on a machine for 5 hours, 3 times a week.
Oh, these patients.
It's insane.
It's not a fun ride.
So that was not an option for me.
Now, how did you deal with the people, though? Like friends, family?
So, there was a lot of naysayers. My family, you were my backbone and Mandy, but everybody else was scared to death for me.
And I just knew, she was in the Army, right?
I was in the Army when I was 30.
She's got it, it's all right. She's got that cancer saying, how does it go? You mess with the wrong bitch, cancer, you mess with the wrong, perfect. Yeah. So I just knew that it was a matter of time. Plus, I'm also researching at the same time different raw foods because I'm seeing what you're going through. I'm watching.
Well, and your son.
I'm watching. Well, yeah.
Your son, he
was huge, but also hearing, my biological father passing away in his 50s from sort of CHF, cardiac, or, congestive heart failure of some sort. Now, I don't know this, never met him. But at the same time, other family members, grandma and grandpa, all these people dying of cancer, having different kinds of ailments. And then heart disease, and then here you are going with this. Now, my youngest son at the time, 11, was scared. He's almost hypochondriac, in a sense. Not real extreme, but he does, get a little overworked up sometimes. So he was wanting to go vegan just the same. And I'm thinking, well, we should definitely at least go vegan. I'll follow you. I'll go vegan with you. And that's what, helped me transition. But so it's amazing what the body can do.
It is.
When
it's
you
really
have the
amazing.
Right fuel.
Right. And even though the tumor hadn't gone anywhere in shape and size, I was, after I stopped doing the Gerson and I was out traveling and doing what I wanted to do and going to my grandson's games and watching them play football, I was living again and I was doing okay. And I'd lost a ton of weight. So I was definitely feeling a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what other protocols then did you do?
So after I stopped the Gerson, I basically stayed semi-Gerson. I didn't take all the supplements that I'd been taking. I did do stemmed vegetables. I did oatmeal every morning because that was the big thing, oatmeal every morning. I did juices. I did carrot and apple juice. I did about 5 pounds of carrot juice a day. And I found out about Bill Henderson's program, which is beta-glucan, which are mushrooms, basically the mushroom, enzymes that the mushrooms hold, and barley green powder, and because that's really, really potent in nutrient value, nutritious for you and your cells. And then I did that, and I was still eating cooked foods. I still wasn't doing a lot of fruit. I did hydrogen peroxide therapy, which was 35% hydrogen peroxide with so many drops per glass of distilled water. And you drink that, you increase it by a drop up to 25 drops until you get to 25 drops a day. And then you go backwards down to 1. And so that took quite a while, but...
What was the concept of that?
Well, hydrogen peroxide, which is basically in vitamin C. So oranges turn into hydrogen peroxide in your blood when it reaches the cellular level. All citrus, lemons, it turns into hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah.
But what the pretense is that hydrogen peroxide oxygenates your blood. And cancer, quote, can't live in an oxygen state.
Yeah.
So that was the pretense for that. But when I was really researching, you know, after I started the therapy, I found so many people that had ulcers from it because it destroyed their gut lining.
Gut flora and the lining.
Yes. So I kind of veered off that after a while and didn't stay with it.
Yeah.
Joanna Budwig. It was Joanna Budwig, the Budwig protocol, which was cottage cheese and flax oil. And I did that religiously twice a day. You mixed it with an immersion blender, and then you could add berries to it and make a smoothie out of it, and that's what I did. So Nancy's is what I use, Nancy's organic cottage cheese, and the flax oil. And you mixed it together, and her reasoning is that our body is so inundated with hydrogenated oils, and the flax oil pushes out the hydrogenated oils, so you can actually oxygenate your cells better. But I don't know. When I was on it for about 3 months. I tried to give each protocol about 3 months until I had my next ultrasound done, just to see if it was working. Because usually in 3 months, 3 to 4 months, you should see something in your body structure where the tumor is. But after I had been on that for a while, I just didn't feel good. I did not feel good on that 100%. So I changed it up again. And after I changed and started on another protocol, it was basically different kinds of supplements. So more herbal supplements, Pardiarco, wormwood, turmeric, I did all kinds of different herbal supplements at that time. And then I found out in the summer of 2015, which was a little over a year after I was diagnosed, I found out about water fasting. And that was the kicker.
That's what opened the doorways.
It opened up a whole nother knowledge base that I had never even heard of.
Yeah.
And I met a guy who had stage 4, 32-year-old, stage 4 testicular cancer. And he went to a Costa Rica water fasting clinic and did 43 days of water fasting.
Just water for
Just
43
water. Well,
days.
And he also did herbal teas.
Okay.
And he did a broth, a vegetable broth. No meat or no vegetables at all. It was just broth. And so, anyways, what happened was when he got back home to England, he had a CAT scan done, and all the tumors were still there. So he was so depressed. And so he said, well, screw it. I'm going to die. And so he went back to eating like he had. And what happened was he was still around, even though the doctor said, you're going to be dead in a month. He was still around 3 months later, and so he had another CAT scan done, and all the tumors were gone.
Boom. Just like that.
43 days of water fasting.
But it took how long before them to kind of like go away?
Well, it was over 3 months.
3 months.
After he got done.
So the cells and whatnot taking that much time
to regenerate. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So pretty interesting. So wow. I got myself up to doing water fasts. I did a day water fast, then I did 3 days, then I did 5 days, and in between I'd do 2 or 3, 4 days, regular eating. And so I got
regular eating with what?
Well, just Gerson.
Gerson
I
stuff.
Still stayed on Gerson. I didn't find fruit.
Yep, the juices.
The juices.
Hippocrates soup.
Well, nope, I didn't do the Hippocrates soup. I just did a lot of steamed vegetables. baked potato fries, no oil, but just baked potato fries.
Weren't you eating like fish or something for a minute?
I did try that. Yes, I went to a naturopath here in Medford.
Gotcha.
And he said I could have fish twice a week, and I did do that. But oh my gosh, I felt so gross after. I couldn't do it. So it was nice that he offered that to me, but it wasn't.
So fast forward. Back to
but water fasting, and then so that was in the summer of 2015. At the end of the summer, I moved to Texas to help take care of my grandchildren. Yeah. And in November, I found out about methionine restriction. And methionine is an amino acid that all tumors need to survive. And what happens is when you eliminate high methionine foods, the tumor or misinformation in your cells start to dissolve and go away.
Acidic cells, right?
Yes. Yeah, they become more alkaline. So, of course, fish and chicken are the highest in methionine.
And fish and chicken are pumped
all the
masses.
Time. Chicken, for sure.
As being like the best food that you can be.
And they're the highest in methionine. So, I found out this article that stated what was the lowest in methionine, and guess what? It was all fruit-based.
All fruit-based.
All fruit. Pineapple is the highest level of no methionine. It has very, very little methionine in it. Grapes are like number 4. So, yeah. So the article was written by a biochemist named Mark Simon, and he has a business down in San Diego. And on his paper was his name. I looked up the name of the business, and there was a phone number, and you know me, I called and he answered the phone, and we talked for an hour and 45 minutes. And he told me exactly what I was supposed to do. Now, he liked to basically rotate doing methionine restriction versus doing a little bit of beans and rice after about 5 to 6 weeks. Well, I hadn't eaten like that in so long, I basically didn't do that. I just went all in. So
all in.
All in. I did grapes. And I was on grapes for about 40 days.
Just grapes?
Just grapes. Dark red grapes, purple grapes, black grapes.
So talk about a mindset shift, right? You're eating, just like the water fast for 40 some days. I mean, you're tapping in to a different part of yourself where you're taking control. You're not letting your body tell you what
Well, you have to have intention.
The intention is
huge. You have to have intention that you want to have your body heal itself. And I never thought any protocol that I ever tried that it wasn't going to be the protocol that healed my body. So I approached every one of them like that.
Yep.
So, and what happened was during the time on the grapes, I found Joanna Brandt's Grape Cure. And so that's what she was all about, the grapes, eating the grapes, and how it reverses all kinds of diseases, because it basically helps flush out your toxins in your colon. All diseases start in your colon, let me tell you.
All of them start in our colon.
Yep.
And we don't ever wash our colons.
Nope.
And we're eating foods that bind all intensely to our colon walls.
Yep.
Cooked foods, so the grapes, you can picture it just would be astringent, washing.
Very astringent, cleansing really well. And so after that, I went on a grape and lemon juice fast for 90 days.
Just grapes
and lemon juice, and I did detox tea, some herbal teas, and then I also did some psyllium pudding, which was psyllium husk, bentonite clay, and activated charcoal.
Yeah.
So what happens is that psyllium works like a roto-rooter in your intestinal tract.
Yeah.
And the bentonite clay attracts all the metal that is stored, because you wouldn't believe all of the foods that have metal in it, and what we drink in our water and our immunizations. I mean, we have stored metals throughout our whole body.
Yeah.
And then the activated charcoal basically, purifies and neutralizes those toxins, so we don't reabsorb those toxins as they're going through the tract.
I see. Wow.
So it works out really good. And part of that was, it's called the Master Fast Program, and they're on Facebook. And you can look that up, even though I don't follow that at all anymore. It was a little too fanatical for me.
Gotcha, yeah. Because some of these groups can be fanatical, like their way is the only way.
Yeah, and there was a lot of people that were commenting and, you know, well, what if I do it this way? And they'd get shut down. And I would reach out to them, and that's how I started my counseling business. Yeah. I would reach out to them and say, hey, I'll help you. You know, you can do this and this and this. You don't have to go balls to the walls this way, you know. And so I started helping, you know, people with, even though I wasn't healed myself, I was helping people at that time.
Shift their mindset.
Shift their mindset. Give them someone to vent to, which was huge.
Yeah.
A lot of the families were very, very, very upset with them because they hadn't followed the conventional route.
Yeah. We kind of pull each other back to this, you know, we like police dog each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not fair.
No.
You know, you're your own person. If that's what you choose to do, you should feel free to be able to do what you choose to do. We're all going to die. None of us are going to leave this earth.
Nobody gets out alive. And it's
yeah.
nice with this day and age, the technology we have, that we can connect with other people.
Yes.
Find other people's information, what's worked for them. Yeah, that's pretty massive.
It is really huge. So, and that's what I did. That's what gave me purpose. Being a caregiver anyways, as a nurse, you know, for the majority of my life.
Yeah.
It gave me a lot of purpose to be here. So, yeah. And then, you know, I just kind of kept doing what I was doing. So, yeah, but I found out about the water fasting in the summer of 15 through Walter Longo, who was a USC Davis professor, gerontologist. And he did a...
What's a gerontologist?
Study of seniors.
Gotcha.
Adult, yeah.
Okay, like geriatric.
Geriatric.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm. And so he did a study on 30 baby rats. And he divided them into groups of 10. And the first group of 10, he let them eat and drink whatever they wanted, any time of the day.
Yeah.
And it was crap food like they would eat in the wild, right?
Just rummaging.
Yeah, just rummaging.
Trash,
junk. And the middle group, he intermittent fasted them, so they only allowed them to eat and drink between the hours of noon and 6.
So intermittent fasting, closing their window of feeding time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the third group of rat, for 3 days, this was a 3-day test, they water fasted them, just on distilled water.
Yeah.
And they did a whole panel blood test on all 30 of these rats before the test.
Yeah.
After the test was done, they all went back to eating the crap food.
Gotcha.
3 days after the test ended, they did a whole nother panel of blood tests.
Yeah.
And guess what? Well, of course, the rats that ate like they normally had, none of their blood levels had changed. Their liver enzymes were all screwed up. Their cholesterol, everything was all messed up.
Yeah.
The intermittent fasted rats, their blood levels improved by 20 to 30%.
Interesting. How powerful.
20 to 30%.
Wow.
The water-fed rats were like they were brand new baby rats.
Just reset them.
Just reset their whole immune system.
Yeah. So that, of course, is clicking into your mindset.
Yep, and that's why I started the water fasting.
Yeah.
Now, what I bring this in for is because part of the master fast was a lot of dry fasting, no food or water.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so I got up to doing 24-hour day, 24 hours of dry fasting a week, maybe twice a week.
Yep.
And then I increased that. And when you dry fast, you basically do cellular regeneration.
Yeah, gotcha.
And how that works is every one of our cells is encased in a fluid-filled sac. But we need water every millisecond of the day, right? Right. So when we're not intaking water-rich fruits and vegetables or drinking water or juices, it has to hunt down, our body hunts down the water around those damaged cells, and it absorbs that water, and what happens to that cell is it incinerates because it's left vulnerable. Yeah. And what it replaces that is a brand new stem cell.
Now, what would you say your favorite part of the journey was?
I think my favorite part was how I was able to be empowered, to be able to stay on course with what I believed I was doing for my body. Yeah. Empowering for me. You know, it really did. It really gave me a lot of power and realized how powerful my body is. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you're in control.
Mm-hmm. You're in control.
When you're in control of your body.
Yep.
And your body's not telling you what to do.
Right.
Eat this. You know. Yeah. Gotcha. Well, I just want to say thanks, Mom, for coming and
you're welcome.
doing this little interview. I have a whole bunch more questions. I'm thinking maybe because this is good. It's been good, but maybe we'll do a part 2.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, we'll pick up some more questions. But yeah, thanks so much for coming by.
Oh, you're welcome, honey.
Whoops, you get tangled up.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Anyways, you can find my mom, Live Love Raw. It's live_love_raw on Instagram and YouTube. I think how was it YouTube?
Yep, just same thing.
Mm-hmm. And you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, and Facebook, Raw Natty Nate. Anyways, if you like this video, maybe give it a thumbs up. Click the subscribe button so you can get notifications for more videos. And until next time, you guys, love you.
Love you too.